The clock struck past 10, and the only light left burning in the entire June Enterprises building came from the CEO's glass office. The city below was drenched in neon, but inside the silence was suffocating. Chung stood near the tall window, his reflection merging with the skyline. A faint line creased his forehead as he flipped through the report in his hand. Your report. Without a word, he tossed the file onto the desk, the thud echoing through the room. Redo it. His voice was calm, too calm. It carried that sharp, cold authority that made even senior managers hesitate. Wine looked up from her laptop, exhaustion flickering behind her eyes. She had been working on that project for 3 nights straight. I have already revised it 3 times, sir. He turned slowly, the corner of his mouth twitching into a humorless smirk. His black shirt sleeves were rolled up, revealing veins that traced down his forearms, a reminder of how composed, how perfectly in control he always appeared. Then do it a fourth. Maybe this time it will meet my standards. Her breath caught. There was no need for that tone, but she swallowed her irritation, lowering her gaze back to the file. Yes, Mr. Jones. A faint silence followed, tense and charged. Jungkook watched her fingers skim across the papers, her brows flowing in quiet determination. Every line she drew, every mark she corrected, irritated him more, not because it was wrong, but because it was flawless. He hated that. He hated that she didn't break under his pressure. You seem unusually confident for someone constantly underperforming. She looked up, startled, her lips parted slightly, but her voice was soft, never disrespectful. I'm confident because I give my best, sir, even if it's never enough for you. For a second, just a second, something flickered in his gaze. Guilt, admiration, he quickly looked away, pretending to check his watch. Confidence doesn't make up for mediocrity. One forced a small smile, her heart tightening. Neither does arrogance. The words slipped out before she could stop herself. The air froze. He turned sharply, eyes narrowing. The arrogance in his smirk vanished, replaced by something else, something dangerous. Careful, Miss Wine. Of course, sir. He watched her stand up, gather the papers, and walk toward his desk. Her movements were graceful, too calm for someone he was trying to intimidate. She placed the file in front of him, her voice steady. You'll have the revision on your desk by morning. She turned to leave, but before she could reach the door, his voice followed her softer this time. Miss Vine, she paused, not turning around. Next time, watch your tone. Her lips curved into a small, polite smile. Next time, watch your assumptions. The door closed behind her with a quiet click, leaving Chunguk standing alone, his hand resting on the desk where her perfume still lingered. He exhaled sharply, annoyed at himself. Why did her defiance make his pulse race? Why did her voice echo in his head long after she was gone? He looked at the file again. Every line was perfect, every number precise. Yet he had told her to redo it just to keep her there a little longer. The next morning, the conference room buzzed with quiet chatter. Jungkook entered with his usual poised black suit, silver watch, that unreadable expression that made everyone straighten in their seats. You sat near the far end of the table, notes ready, eyes focused. Across from you, Harry, Jungkook's longtime friend and the PR director, wore a smile. Her tone sugary sweet. So, about the campaign strategy, I noticed Wine's proposal relies too much on emotional engagement. It's cute but risky for our image. A few quiet laughs followed from the team. Your jaw clenched, but you stayed silent. Jungkook leaned back in his chair, fingers stippled under his chin. His eyes flicked from here to you. Emotional engagement, hmm? He chuckled faintly. Well, she's always been sentimental with her ideas. The room joined in his laugh, everyone except you. You bite the inside of your cheek, trying to hold your composure. That laugh, the one he really showed it was beautiful, sincere, and it wasn't for you. Harry placed a manicured hand lightly on Jungkook's arm, pretending to show him a graph. He didn't move away. But his jaw tightened ever so slightly, your chest ached. Maybe sentiment is what humanizes our brand, sir. Not everything has to be cold numbers and graphs. The room went silent again. Harry's smile faltered. Chuk's gaze locked on you, sharp, calculating, yet intrigued. You're saying my approach lacks emotion? No, sir. I'm saying sometimes emotion is what makes logic work. He didn't respond for a long, uncomfortable second. The air between you was electric, an unspoken challenge neither of you would admit existed. Then Harry's voice broke the silence, light and breathing. Oh, Jungkook, she's always brave when she's with you. Maybe she's just trying to impress the boss. Everyone laughed. Except him, he looked away, forcing a tight smile, but deep down something in her words bothered him because part of him knew it wasn't about impressing him. She genuinely cared, and he was too proud to admit it. The air inside the boardroom was thick with expectation, the kind that pressed against every chest and made every breath feel measured. The team sat in polished rows, eyes trained on the man standing at the head of the table. John Jungkook, every word he spoke carried weight. Every decision he made drew silent awe and silent fear. After careful consideration, his deep, even voice rolled through the room. I have decided to assign the lead position for our soul expansion project to Harry. The room erupted in polite applause. Cheers scraped, hands clapped, smiles stretched, all except one. Wine sat frozen, the sound around her fading into a dull echo. Her pen slipped from her fingers, landing softly on her notebook. She forced her lips into a faint smile, though her stomach twisted painfully. Hillary stood pretending to look surprised, her laughter too sweet to be real. Oh my god, Jungkook, I mean, Mr. Jones, thank you, I won't let you down. He gave her a brief note, his expression unreadable, professional, detached. I'm sure you won't. Wine's heart sank. She had spent weeks perfecting that proposal, skipping meals, staying late, chasing perfection just to prove she deserved to be seen. And yet, the promotion she earned had gone to someone who smiled prettier, talked smoother, and had a history with him that wine could never compete with. She didn't clap, her hands stayed in her lap, trembling beneath the table where no one could see. When the meeting ended, she packed her notes quietly, hoping to slip out before anyone noticed the hurt in her eyes. But fate, as always, wasn't kind. She felt him before she saw him Jungkook's steady footsteps echoing down the corridor. His calling lingered before his words did. Miss Wine, she stopped mid-step, turning slightly. He stood near her desk, hands in his pockets, gaze cool and impersonal. The same tone he used when dismissing interns, as if what he had done minutes ago hadn't carved into her pride. Don't take it personally. A pause. His jaw flexed. She was the parapet. The words landed heavier than they should have. One forced a small, fragile smile, one that didn't reach her eyes. Of course, I understand, sir. He nodded once, curved distant, and walked away. His expensive shoes tapping a rhythm she could never forget. As soon as he disappeared into his office, she turned toward the elevator. Her chest felt tight, too tight. The doors closed, sealing her alone with her reflection. That's when the first tear slipped, then another. Silent, unbroken sobs that never escaped her throat. She covered her mouth with a trembling hand, biting back every sound, because crying in front of him would have been weakness, and she refused to give him that satisfaction. When the elevator doors opened, her eyes were red, but her posture perfect. She walked out like nothing inside her had shattered. The morning light spilled through the tall glass windows of Jun Jungkook's office, a muted gold that didn't quite reach him. The city was alive outside, but inside everything was unnervingly still. He had been reviewing reports when his assistant knocked softly and placed a white envelope on his desk. Miss Wine asked me to give you this, sir. Jungkook barely glanced up, livid, but the second The door clicked shut. Something about the handwriting on that envelope made his pulse flicker. It wasn't the usual cold stabbed formality, it was handwritten. Neat, controlled. He slit it open with practiced precision, but the moment he read the first line, his breath stilled. Dear Mr. John, please consider this my formal resignation effective immediately. His eyes skimmed through the rest, though he already know what it said professionalism, gratitude for the opportunity, best wishes, nothing personal, no emotion. And somehow that hurt more than anger ever could. He leaned back in his chair, tapping the paper once, twice. Then again, his jaw clenched. She hadn't even come to talk to him. That annoyed him. No, it infuriated him. Within minutes, he pressed the intercom, sent Miss Wine in. When Wine entered, she looked composed, almost too composed. A soft baked blouse, hair neatly tied, expression calm, no signs of regret, no tears, no hesitation. He hated how calm she looked. She stood before his desk, hands clasped in front of her. You wanted to see me, sir. You left this. He held up the letter between two fingers, his tone cutting. I assume it isn't a joke. It isn't. He leaned back, eyes narrowing. So that's it. You're just quitting. Yes, sir. Because you didn't get what you wanted. Because I finally know what I deserve. Her voice was soft, painfully calm. She wasn't trembling, wasn't begging, wasn't explaining herself, and that composure only stroked his irritation. You think walking out makes you noble, it makes you unprofessional. Then I'll take that title with peace. That response, the quiet defiance in her tone, cracked something in him. His fingers curled slightly over the desk. You spent 2 years here, late nights, projects I handpicked you for, and this is how you end it a letter. She met his gaze steadily. Those late nights were my choice, Mr. Jones, but so is this. The way she said it, soft, resolute, made him lose his rhythm. He was used to compliance, to trembling excuses, not to this. He stood up suddenly, the chair scraping against the floor. You're running away because things didn't go your way. That's childish. She didn't flinch. No, sir, I'm walking away because I spent too long trying to please someone who was never willing to see me. His chest tightened, a strange, unwelcome weight pressing behind his ribs. You are emotional. I'm human. For a second, the mask slipped, his brows flowed, a flash of guilt or anger, he couldn't even tell which. And what about loyalty? You leave now after everything I. She cut him off gently, her voice almost tender. You taught me loyalty, sir, to my work, my values, not to someone who refuses to respect them. He inhaled sharply, eyes darkening. You think this company will fall apart without you? I think it already started to when it forgot how to value people. That silence, that quiet, unshakable tone made him snap his gaze away. Jaw tightening, he wanted to yell, he wanted to tell her she was being ungrateful, impulsive, dramatic, anything that would make her stay. But every word died before it reached his tongue. You will regret this. Maybe, but at least it will be my own decision to regret. He exhaled sharply, stepping closer, his voice dropping lower. You think you can just walk out and everything will magically get better? The industry isn't kind, Miss Wine. Her smile didn't falter. Neither were you, sir. That was the final blow, quite polite, but devastating. He stared at her, words failing him for the first time in a long while. The ticking of the wall clock grew louder between them. You are serious about this? I am. Then go. She nodded once, stepping back. Goodbye, Mr. Jones. When she reached the door, she turned slightly, her tone gentle, almost kind again. I hope one day you will understand that being feared and being respected are not the same thing. The door closed softly behind her. He stood frozen, her words echoing long after she left. The office, once filled with power and command, suddenly felt unbearably empty. He looked down at the resignation letter again, at the faint curve of her signature, and for the first time, Jungkook realized what silence truly sounded like. It sounded like loss. The storm didn't come with thunder, it came with numbers, red ones. Jungkook sat at the head of the long mahogany table, surrounded by executives too afraid to breathe wrong. The projector screen glowed harshly against his face, a sea of losses, crashing graphs, contracts terminated overnight. Sir, the leak reached our overseas clients. They have pulled out their funding. The expansion's been handled, he cut in, voice sharp enough to silence the room, but everyone knew it wasn't. Harry sat 2 seats away, eyes wide, fingers twisting nervously around her pen. I don't know how the files got out. Someone must have stopped playing. The room went quiet again. His tone wasn't loud, but it was the kind of voice that made blood run cold. He stood abruptly, chair scraping against the marble floor. I defended you, Harry. His voice dropped, rough with restraint fury. I promoted you when others told me you were not ready. You had one job to protect what we built. Harry swallowed, her eyes glistening. I didn't mean to. I thought sharing minor data with your team would build trust. I didn't know. You didn't think at all. He slammed the file shut. The sound echoed like a gunshot. For the first time, the proud CEO looked exhausted, shadows beneath his eyes. Disillusioned, a man unraveling from within, he dismissed the board with a curt wave. When the last person left, silence filled the room like fog. He stood by the window, the city lights reflected in the glass, the same view he used to love. Now it mocked him. His gaze shifted unconsciously to the corner, the small desk near the wall, her desk neat, quiet, always organized. Always glowing with life when she was there. Now it was empty. No soft laugh echoing during late hours, no gentle voice saying, "You should eat something, sir." Just stillness. He exhaled shakily, eyes dropping to the floor. Every file she had prepared had been flawless. Every system she had built had kept this place alive. Every sleepless night she had endured was what held the company together, and he had crushed it all under his pride. His reflection in the window stared back at him, a man with everything except peace. I lost the only person who never wanted anything from me except respect. He turned away, pressing a hand to his forehead, the weight of his choices crashing down like waves he couldn't escape. Days turned to weeks, but the regret refused to wait. Every morning felt heavy, like walking through ghosts. He tried to drown it in work, but even his assistant noticed the shift. His commands were quieter, his temper shorter, his eyes always flickered toward the door as if expecting her to walk through it again. Until one night, when the silence finally broke him, he grabbed his keys and drove. Rain poured across the windshield, street lights blurring into gold streaks as he reached her old apartment building. He climbed the stairs two at a time, his chest tight, his heart drumming louder than the storm outside. The door was locked, dust gathered near the handle. Through the small glass window, he could see nothing. Empty shelves, bare walls, she was gone. He swallowed hard, his throat burning. Where did you go, Wine? He searched her HR records, old projects, even reached out to mutual contacts. Every lead led nowhere. It was as if she had erased herself from his world completely. Finally, one late night, he returned to the office, the place that used to echo with her presence. As he stepped into her old workspace, the air was still. The soft hum of the city below was the only sound left, and then he saw it, a small yellow sticky note stuck to the corner of her old monitor. His breath caught in her handwriting. It read, "Thank you for teaching me that silence is stronger than begging." His hand trembled as he peeled it off the screen, staring at the words until they blurred. He could almost hear her voice, calm, unwavering, the same way she had stood in front of him that last day. He looked up, eyes catching his reflection in the office glass. The man staring back wasn't the cold, untouchable CEO the world admired. He looked empty, alone, successful, and broken. For the first time, Jungkook realized that empires could crumble quietly, not with fire, not with betrayal, but with the absence of the one person who held them together. The evening sun dipped low, pointing the city in warm, fading gold. Jungkook's car rolled to a slow stop at the red light. His mind lost somewhere between regret and exhaustion. He had just come from another soulless meeting, investors, figures, smiles that mean nothing. The kind of success that now felt empty without the one person who had once made it all human. As he leaned back against the seat, something outside the window caught his eye. A girl standing by the corner of a quiet park, her back turned to him. The wind played with her hair as she crouched down, holding out a biscuit to a small stray cat. The animal meowed softly, brushing against her hands. There was something in that sight, so gentle, so familiar, that made his heartbeat stumble. He didn't even think. He pulled over, stepped out, and walked closer. Her soft laugh carried through the breeze. You always show up right before sunset, huh? Greedy little thing. She broke another piece of biscuit, smiling as the cat pawed at her knee. Fine, fine, but that's the last one, I swear. The sound of her voice, light, teasing, achingly real, froze him in place. His chest tightened. Wine. She stiffened her hand, pausing midair. Slowly she turned, calm, eyes meeting his. No anger, no tears, just quiet composure that hit harder than any words could. Mr. Joan, her tone was polite, distant, like he was a stranger she had once known. For a moment, neither spoke. The air felt fragile, like one wrong word could shatter it. I have been looking for you. Why? He swallowed, the guilt clawing up at his throat to say I was wrong. Her eyes flickered a hint of surprise, maybe even disbelief. I shouldn't have treated you the way I did. You didn't deserve that, none of it. His voice cracked, low and genuine. I'm sorry, Vine. For a heartbeat, she just looked at him. The cat brushed against her leg again, breaking the silence. I forgave you a long time ago, Jungkook. His breath caught at the way she said his name, soft but final, like forgiveness didn't mean return. Before he could speak again, a young man jogged up from the nearby shop holding two cups of coffee. He had the same eyes as her, warm and mischievous. Wine, sorry, they only had caramel left. Jungkook's jaw tightened, his gaze flickered from the boy's hand brushing her shoulder to her relaxed smile. Who's this? My brother, Hanul. But the word brother didn't reach him right away because the look in her eyes as she turned back to the boy, carefree, light, utterly at peace, was something he hadn't seen in years, something that wasn't for him anymore. Come on, let's go before it gets dark. She gave Jungkook one last glance, calm, unreadable, then walked away, her laughter fading into the wind. He stood there long after they disappeared down the street. The cat meowed once and brushed against his shoe as if mocking his silence. He crouched, staring at the half-eaten biscuit she had left behind. His fingers brushed against the crumbs. His throat tight. For the first time in years, Chon Jungkook didn't feel like the CEO who could command the world. He felt like a man chasing a ghost. As he got back into his car, his reflection in the window looked different, softer, haunted. Chunguk sat in the driver's seat, the city light streaming across his face, but his mind was elsewhere with her. You forgive me, but I can't forgive myself. That single thought haunted him like a shadow he couldn't shake. He thought about the way she had crouched on for that stray cat, the gentle tilt of her head, the soft laugh she had given to something so small, so ordinary. He remembered how calm she had been when he apologized, her composure cutting through all the pride he clung to. Every night after, he found himself replaying that moment, the curve of her smile. The light in her eyes, even the faint sense she left behind in the park seemed to linger in his memory. Sweet and undeniable. He tried to focus on work, numbers, contracts, meetings, but they blurred. Every spreadsheet reminded him of the reports she had perfected, every email of the careful, thoughtful way she communicated. It was as if every part of him wanted her. I didn't just lose an employee, I lost the one person who never wanted anything from me except respect. He clenched the steering wheel, knuckles wide, pride fought with longing, anger with regret. He hated that he thought of her constantly, hated that her smile invaded his thoughts when he was trying to be the untouchable CEO, hated that he wanted to see her again more than anything he had wanted in years. These past weeks, he found himself driving past the same streets, hoping, even if only for a glimpse, that she would appear. Where are you now, Wine? What are you doing? Who are you with? Every casual mention of her name in the office, in passing reports, in archived emails, tightened his chest. Every project that reminded him of her brilliance made him question how he had ever. At night, alone in his apartment, he found himself staring at the city skyline from his balcony, imagining her in some small cafe, laughing softly, feeding a stray cat, living her life without him, and the thought almost broke him. I should hate her. I should be indifferent, but I can't. I think about her every day, every single day, and every day I hate myself for letting her live. The first time he admitted it to himself in the privacy of his office, when no one else was around, he felt it fully. He was in love with her, not the wine he had tried to control, scold, or belittle. The wine he had lost, the wine who forgiven him effortlessly showing him what he had never allowed himself to feel. And that thought scared him more than any rival, any financial loss, any mistake he had ever made. Because he knew deep down that this time he wouldn't be able to fix it with a promotion, a command, or a demand. This time, if he wanted her back, he would have to earn her, her respect, her trust, and maybe one day her heart. I'm not losing her again, not if I have any control left in me. I'll find her, I'll make her see that I'm not the same man she left. The car engine hummed beneath him, the city alive with lights and movement, but Jungkook's word had narrowed to one thought wine. And as he stared into the night, one thing was certain his heart had chosen her, and now nothing else mattered.